Okay, we're live. We're live. Welcome to the Spider Talk News Show. Today's topics, if you're watching back at a later date, we're going to be talking about the current state of the 616 Spider-Man comics. I feel like it's been a little bit of a while since I did a proper breakdown of the 616 Spider-Man comics. I had a proper discussion about them because I've posted many videos about the 616 Spider-Man comics across my time, and I feel like I haven't done a proper breakdown, a proper sort of in-depth discussion on my thoughts, feelings, and sort of what you guys think as well. So we'll have a good chat about that tonight, and then we're going to talk about the new comic Spider-Man Long Way Home and sort of the implications of that. Very sneaky from Marvel Comics, I will say, very sneaky from Marvel Comics. It's I'm a little bit iffy on the comic. I think we'll get into it, but Jonathan Hickman is attached to the book, and I think his efforts are best placed elsewhere. But anyway, that's an opinion we'll come to. We've got the Spider-Man Noir villains, and we've got brand new day trailer rumors to get into. So more of that sort of stuff as well. But if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Hey, finally getting to attend your stream after like 15 months. Last was 2024. Oh my gosh, Fru, well, welcome to the stream. Jesus, that's a long time ago. Well, welcome back. I'm trying to stream more regularly, but it's like, it's one of them things, isn't it? Where people get busy in life or whatever. But hopefully you are well. I really need to burp, so I'm really sorry if I end up just burping randomly. Anyway, so hey Victor, how's it going? Hope everyone is all good. So make sure to share the stream around as well. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and let's just start talking about it. So for those of you who are just joining the chat, I mean, what do you guys think about the current state of the comics? Let's just have a general discussion. I want this to be sort of as general as possible because, we get into all sorts of discussions on the channel, in videos, in streams, about the comics. And, the best parts of the streams, in my opinion, are when sort of you guys are asking questions and we get into a real discussion that's sort of diverging and off topic, but it's usually revolving around sort of the state of the comics, what if scenarios, and stuff like that. So yeah, welcome everyone to the stream. Hamad's in the chat. Welcome, my friend. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Life got in the way, lol, was really busy for the entirety of 2025. That's fair play. Life does get in the way. So first thing you might have seen the thumbnail. Okay. And if you have seen the thumbnail, I want to know, obviously I want to know your general thoughts about the 616, the 616 Spider-Man comics at this moment in time, because people have varying opinions on them, right? But I kind of want to just bring up this. What do you guys think of this? Okay, what do you guys think about this? Because this has been bugging me, and I really need to talk about it. Okay, I really need to get some things off my chest here. Okay, what do you guys think about this? Okay, MJ as all new Venom, absolutely crazy. I mean, what is... The thing is, I'm really conflicted on this, okay? I'm really conflicted. Because it shouldn't exist, but I kind of prefer it to Jackpot. Kevin, hi, welcome to the stream. I'm really conflicted on this. So this is my opinion, right? And you guys might disagree. I do have a few controversial opinions, so, you guys might disagree here. Okay, but all new Venom being MJ does not make sense. Hi Spidercrafter, welcome to the stream. My evening's going good. How about you? Hopefully you're alright. So recently I've caught up with the 616 comics again, and I've actually, that's crazy with a capital C, says Kevin, it is, and I caught up on All New Venom. I've been meaning to catch up on this because I wanted to get some of the things off my chest, and I thought the story may justify some of my concerns, but the story did not. Excuse me, there's that burp. The story did not justify my concerns at all. So if you're confused, right, I'm going to break this down. My eyes need bleaching. Just the drawing itself looks super weird, says Fru. Emmanuel, just kind of we don't know what to do with this character scenario. Exactly, Emmanuel, I'm going to get to this, so just hang on. James Jackson's in the chat. Shouldn't exist. She's a secondary character / love interest. So all thoughts I'm sort of hinging off. It's hilarious that the reason she's Venom is because Paul killed her. It's actually wild. So the reason I'm so conflicted on this is, you guys might know, I'm very much a Spider-Man purist, okay? For the good and for the bad. I try my absolute hardest to embrace the new stuff, and I really try to look at Joe Kelly's run especially in a new light. And you guys may have seen that. Most of my videos on Joe Kelly's run and most of my videos on the 616 Spider-Man comics fairly recently have been quite positive, right? I've been very, very positive. And the thing is, I think when Zeb Wells' run was going on and I was making videos about it, I think at some point I could have been too overly negative. And then there was a few comments that I got. And I read most of the comments, by the way. There was a few comments that I got where people were like, oh yeah, he's just making another negative video. He's got to pay the bills or whatever, right? And I think that's really funny. Like, I laugh at those comments, and I think that's it's funny that people think that. But they were kind of right. Not in the sense that I was making those videos to pay the bills, right? Because negativity is popular, and it was popular around those comics. But I think I sort of reflected on myself, and I was like, am I being too harsh on Zeb Wells? Ultimately, I don't think I was. I think I was very right in saying that those comics had a lot of issues, and people would agree. But then when Joe Kelly came around, I thought, well, instead of trying to almost make a bad thing out of this run straight away, let's sort of see what Joe Kelly does well, right? And instantly, those comics were better than Zeb Wells' comics. There's definitely a huge step up in quality from the Zeb Wells run and the Joe Kelly run. So that was something positive I wanted to comment on, and I made several videos talking about that. The Norman Osborn stuff, as you guys know, I do not like at all, but fair play to Joe Kelly. It's written quite well. So where am I going with this? Well, I've tried to look at these comics in a new light, okay? And I'm very much a Spider-Man purist. So I kind of hate a lot of the ideas that they try to do. This is one of them, okay? The last person that should be Venom in the Spider-Man comics is Mary Jane Watson. And I'll explain why. My evening is going well, thanks, and I agree MJ being all new Venom is really weird, doesn't make much sense considering the history between both characters, and I'm about to touch on this Spider-Crafter. Bad idea, says Faye Allen. Honestly, even the story for MJ to be Venom is good. I still won't like them. I have many problems with the 616, like Norman being a good guy or being alive at all. He should have stayed dead after 1973, but this MJ thing is the biggest one. And I'm going to come to that. Okay. Yeah, I understand on being overly negative on Modern Spider-Man. I also delved into Modern Spider-Man when you were uploading those videos, and while justified, it definitely felt a bandwagon. And the thing is, I think people were right to call that out. I think, I think myself, it wasn't just me as well, multiple creators, I think, were on the bandwagon. And you'd see every other day videos like, problem with Modern Spider-Man. I fell out of love with Spider-Man comics. Spider-Man this, Spider-Man that. And yeah, they were right to have those opinions, and I think I was as well, and I think all you guys were. But I think there was a bandwagon going on, and those opinions were justified. But I felt like, were we being too overly critical? I don't know. Were we? I do sit on the fence with that a little bit. But I tried to stay positive with Joe Kelly's run, and I think so far, I think I've been right in saying it's a lot more positive than Zeb Wells's. Is it at the quality and at the stage that we want the characters and story to be? Probably not. But Joe Kelly is doing some things right. Anyway, So Joe Kelly's run is essentially just competent writing about a bad premise. And you know, I'd completely connect in a minute. We're back. Okay, we're back. We're back. Sorry about that. We are back. If the stream disconnects, don't worry. It is not you. It is me. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to... I have to sort my wife out before the next stream, man, because this is getting crazy. Anyway, so... Kevin says, I gave up being interested in 616 Spider-Man a while ago, not on the Wells run. You should read Marvel Dimensions by Alex Ross coming out in September. Classic Spider-Man will be back. The 616 isn't it. YouTube is striking back for you bashing YouTube Shorts on last stream. Yeah, that's what I was saying, right? They're bashing at me. They're coming for me. I dissed YouTube Shorts, and now YouTube are coming for my ass. Right, anyway. So, this leads me straight to my point about MJ. Okay. So, MJ is Venom. Oh, have I got some things to talk about here? Okay, have I got a bone to pick with this? You know what's the most annoying thing about this? Do you know what the most annoying thing about all new Venom is? The comic's really freaking good. The comic's really, really good. Ah, it's actually really good. It's really good. It's really, really good. Oh my gosh, all new Venom is actually one of the better Spider-Man related comics we have. Like, holy shizzle, it is good. Okay, the whole mystery aspect about who Venom is, that's genius. Genius. I love it. It's so good. Okay, it's so engaging. Okay, and they haven't done that before. Like, who's a symbiote character? I think that's cool. That's cool. I love it. It's amazing. And I've got to be careful how I word this. The reasoning, I guess, makes sense for MJ and Venom to come together initially. Sort of the story of Venom coming off the back of the big war arc that Venom had, and then coming to where he's at right now. I think it's cool, and the whole thing with Madame Mask, it's a cool story, right? The problem is they picked the worst possible combination of characters. Venom and Mary Jane Watson should not be a pairing. They should not be a pairing. People are saying Eddie Brock fans aren't liking it. See, I'm not like I'm the same as Ahmad. I'm not sort of, devoted Eddie Brock fan, right? But I read it as a Spider-Man fan. Probably more an angle of sort of Mary Jane, because I know Venom's sort of his own character. Romantic Avocado, welcome to the stream. Mighty Crane as well, superior comment. I'll get back to your comments in just 1 second. But so I kind of come at this from sort of more of a Mary Jane angle, because that's sort of my realm. I'm not in the... Because Venom's sort of his own character at this point, right? So I'm more in the Mary Jane camp than the Venom camp. But coming at it from a Mary Jane point of view, have we forgotten the trauma that MJ went through with Venom when Venom first came around? Did we forget about this? Did I miss something? And if I missed this story or MJ becoming okay with it, if I missed that getting resolved, I'm sorry. Someone point me in the direction of that comic. And even if there is a story that rectifies that, this is sort of the same situation we have with Norman Osborn becoming good. Norman Osborn becoming good should never work, because no matter what happens, the one person that Peter Parker should never ever go, okay, you can be redeemed, is Norman Osborn. I'm sorry. This is one thing I wholeheartedly disagree with, and I will fight on this hill. Yes, Spider-Man, Peter Parker's whole shtick is people can be redeemed, people deserve a second chance, right? He has that hope inside him. He's Spider-Man, right? He's the guy, he's the GOAT, right? He's that guy. Okay? The one person Peter should never accept that being the case for is Norman Osborn. Norman Osborn never deserves a second chance. That's just how it should be. Peter Parker is a human being too. Norman Osborn has taken so much from Peter Parker that Peter should have PTSD-induced trauma every time he sees him, no matter if he's a good guy or not. You know, Peter should want to punch his lights out every time he sees him, no matter if he's good or not. So this is, Norman Osborn's irredeemable in my opinion. And this is one of them things. The Venom story from the 90s, the whole thing with MJ and Venom, the whole trauma response that they built up with MJ, seeing Venom, and can I just remind you that when Peter had a version of the black suit that he like sort of made himself, MJ forced him to take it off. MJ forced him to get rid of it because she was so traumatized by Venom. I'm sorry, this doesn't work. And the thing is, if they explored, and the thing is, I read the story hoping that this would be a consequence of the story, and if it was, that'd be awesome. But they're not tapping into that too much. And maybe at some point they will, I don't know. But I'm not sort of convinced by it. And like I said, even if they did, I don't think it's right. Anyway, here we go. So I'm going to catch up on some comments. Hot take, Dan Slott did so much damage to the Fantastic Four than what he did to Spider-Man. Oh, okay, there's a hot take. Okay. I don't think Venom fans are too happy about it, but I'm not tapped into their fandom. I agree with that. Our third choice would be to destroy the 616. We're going to have this discussion, are we? What do you guys think about that? Do you think they reboot the 616 universe? I have this sort of discussion on every stream. I think it's an interesting idea. Romantic Avocado, welcome. Unrelated to Venom, but I would also recommend checking out Spider-Man Octogirl. It's a very good Spider manga. Oh, okay, superior comment. Thank you for the recommendation. MJ is literally, yeah, random. Yeah, exactly. Hi, Ryan. How are we doing? Yeah, that's why I don't think the pairing should exist. They touch on it a little bit in the comic. Very short-lived, though. Exactly, right? It's not a main subject to the story, which you think it would be, right? Like, for example, at least with the Norman Osborn story, and I can't believe I'm going to defend this, at least in the Norman Osborn story, you know, they reflect on the fact that Norman has basically traumatized Peter Parker, right? You know, even though Peter should never forgive him should never allow Norman to be redeemed. The idea that they do reflect on that is a large part of why I think it's written actually quite well. Even though that idea should never happen, it's written quite well. And I think largely it was actually one of the better things Zeb Wells did. And actually it's one of the probably best, if not the best part of Joe Kelly's run. And I can't believe I've said that, but it's true. Okay, it is well written, in my opinion. The idea is bad. It should never happen. Norman Osborn should never be good. Ever. I don't like it. But for what it is, it's written quite well. So at least they tap onto that, right? Norman Osborn also killed a baby. Right, exactly. So here we go. We're seeing, you're starting to... So I remember nearly 10 years ago now reading ASM 300 as a part of a graphic novel that has Spider-Man comics, including Superior issue 31. That was the first marriage comic I read, seeing MJ scared. Exactly. I just... The stuff they did with MJ, Venom, and Peter, like that sort of trio, I can't see how this works. Arch Nemesis must always be irredeemable, in my opinion, says Fruit. Late 80s, early 90s, Venom was a menace and a sociopath. I think people forget how Venom was. Venom was terrifying. Venom's first ever panel is him traumatizing. Exactly! That's the whole crux of him, right? To get back at Peter Parker. Venom, now the thing is, Venom's character has come so far, right? Venom's character has come so far. Okay? And arguably, one of the reasons why Venom is where he's at now is because of the movies. You know, he's very goofy. He's his own personality. He's this, he's that. And in some cases, Venom's character has come, has gone in a good direction. He's got a lot of depth about him. He's developed his own fandom. But some part of me does miss the Spider-Man villain, because he's not a Spider-Man villain anymore. You know, I think I'll be getting to the point now. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this as well. I mean, get your comments in on this. Is Venom a Spider-Man villain anymore, or is he a Marvel character? Which one is he? Is he a Spider-Man villain or a Marvel character? You know, get your thoughts in. So that's an interesting one, right? But I do miss the Spider-Man villain. Okay. yeah, like I said, Spider-Man purist, but I try to embrace the new stuff. I do like what they've done with Venom, but this, I can't vibe with it. I can't. I was okay with MJ bonding with Venom in Spider-Man Reign 2, and it paid respect to the McFarlane run, with MJ being terrified of the symbiote, but not 616. That's a good point. What's your dream Spider-Man game when the Insomniac game ends? Oh, that is a good question. I think my dream Spider-Man game... I think the thing is, I think Spider-Man PS4, Marvel Spider-Man 1, I think was my dream Spider-Man game. I think that was what I was envisaging, like, as a kid for so long, because the Spider-Man games they were pretty good, but they weren't, like, at the level of, like, A-tier game. But they got the Arkham treatment, right? And I think I don't have one. I think I'm content with the games we have. If I was going to say what game should we get after, I think... I definitely think they should lean into the Spider-Verse concept with the games. I know people hate the idea of the multiverse and people are getting sick of it. But for a Spider-Man game, it would be pretty cool. I think the only thing that's missing from the Spider-Man game universe now, sort of what we've got content-wise, is a multiplayer Spider-Man game. I think that's the only thing they have left to crack. So I think lean into the Spider-Verse thing, do a game about that, and I think that'd be the only thing I'm sort of desiring from Spider-Man in terms of games at the moment. I remember that bit where MJ asked Peter to take off the cloth black suit, and Peter agreed. And dude literally thought he was going to have to swing around. So literally, you know, as I mentioned earlier, as Spider-Crafter is now also alluding to, you know, he literally was forced to take off a costume he made to represent the black suit by MJ because she hated Venom that much. They should reboot the 616 universe. What do you think is the worst, MJ being Venom or her being jackpotted? I didn't like Jackpot, and I don't like Venom. I think MJ... And actually, this ties very nicely into my next point. I'll catch up on the characters, and then catch up on the comments, and then I will talk about this. So hang on to that. Okay? I think Marvel Comics might choose turning Spider-Man into an evil dictator, like... I'm not sure they'll do that, but, you know, I think Marvel love their IP too much. Venom is a Marvel character now 100. He's both. He's now a Marvel character now. A lot of Marvel characters. He hasn't really been a villain since the early 90s. Just a generic Marvel character now. Venom was literally like Spider-Man's arch nemesis until 1992 or so. They switched it to Carnage, then to Jackal, then they brought back Norman Osborn. To me, he's a good guy. Spider-Man being this popular is not doing any favors to him. Absolutely not true. I completely agree. And the thing is, you got to think about brand synergy as well. And we're going to talk about... Actually, this ties in perfectly. Oh my god, perfect. Should we just cover it now? I'm going to cover it now, and then I'm going to get back... Then I'm going to get back to my next point about Venom. Okay? I'm going to get back to my next point about Venom. Okay? I'm going to cover this now since we brought it up. But have you guys seen this? Spider-Man Long Way Home. Okay? Now, this is a comic that has just been announced. It is not a part of the 616 universe. You'll never guess which characters feature in it. Spider-Man, the Hulk, and Punisher. And it's essentially about Spider-Man running from AIM. I think that's the synopsis. I only read the synopsis. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research into it, but I don't think much is out about the comic at the moment. It's going to be written by Jonathan Hickman. Now, if you're wondering why Ultimate Spider-Man ended so abruptly, or why it ended at all, maybe this is why they needed Jonathan Hickman to go over to this. That said, it's only a 5-part issue series. However, what I think you guys are going to be most interested in, I say interested, or you're going to be observant about, is I mentioned that this comic will feature Hulk, Punisher, and Spider-Man, which... coincidentally, are going to be the 3 main MCU heroes that appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Oh my gosh, what a coincidence. It's not, I bet, Marvel Comics, Jonathan Hickman had no idea about Brand New Day. Man was cooking this, they copied him. No, of course I'm lying. This is MCU brand synergy, and, it's so obvious. I mean, it's called Long Way Home. I mean, come on. You couldn't MCUify it more if you tried. Even the suit kind of looks like the MCU suit, the new one. Oh my gosh. But Long Way Home, of course, referencing the Home trilogy. Of course, it's not anything brand new day. I'm sure, you know, comics in the future will follow that format, but the Long Way Home to MCUify it. Oh, it's just MCU synergy slop, man. It just is. And I use the word slop very rarely. But you know, the thing is, I think it'll be good. I actually think it'll be a good comic because Jonathan Hickman does tend to cook. He didn't cook with Ultimate Spider-Man towards the end, but he does tend to cook. I do trust Jonathan Hickman as a writer. So, I do think it'll be good. But it's just annoying that Ultimate Spider-Man had to end for this. You know? So, anyway. So that's my point on brand synergy. Anyway, so how that relates to Venom is, well, Venom is very a goofy character now, isn't he? And that's large in part because of what happened with the Tom Hardy movies. Okay, but going back to a recent another comment. Sorry, I was trying to catch up on the comments. You guys are firing the comments in tonight, so keep doing that. Thank you very much for joining the stream. So yeah, MJ, that's what I wanted to talk about. So, was MJ worse as Venom or Jackpot? In my opinion, both. And the reason for that is MJ is not a Marvel superhero. And I'm going to coin a term here. Venomify. That is a new term. Venomify definition, when they try to take a character that works for a certain superhero and turn them into something they should not be. Case in point, Venom was a Spider-Man villain and actually maybe quite rightly was turned into a more wider Marvel character, some good stories. MJ, however, maybe we should call it MJify. Yeah, we're going to call it MJify. They're trying to turn MJ into her own thing when she doesn't need to be. Okay? And people will go, well, Lewis, oh, you're saying MJ can't do her own thing? You're saying she needs to be tied to Peter Parker for the rest of her life? How dare you? No, that's not what I'm saying. So hear me out. Let me cook, right? So, MJ, as a character, is at her best, most fierce, best, well-written, and awesome when she's a part of the Amazing Spider-Man stories. Whether she's with Peter Parker or not, married or not, split or not, when she's in that mythos, she is the best written. Because what makes MJ special isn't giving her superpowers. What makes MJ special as a character is the way that she's been written for the last 60 years. The trauma, the Venom stuff. You know, the stuff with her father, those side stories that they did where she went and met her sister. You know, the depth to that character that they spent so long building. That's what makes MJ special. That's what makes MJ a fantastic character. Now they're trying to give her the Venom symbiote. Now they're trying to make her Jackpot. They're trying to make her a superhero. She doesn't need that to be special. MJ doesn't need that. It's so annoying because MJ is a fantastic character without superpowers. You don't need superpowers to make her interesting. She's one of the most interesting Marvel characters there is going, and she doesn't even need superpowers. You know, why are you giving her the Venom symbiote? Why are you giving her Anyway, I could talk about this for hours, but that's another problem I have with this. Okay, it's not just the fact that they've combined MJ and Venom, despite the comic actually being really well written, and I'm so annoyed that it is, but it actually is a really well written comic. I actually 100% recommend you go read it because it is entertaining as hell. Okay, so hypocritically, I do think it's well written, but the idea, the premise, it just doesn't work. Okay. For both sides, the Venom stuff and the MJ stuff, and the fact that just, I can't do it, okay? Anyway, I'm going to catch up on some comments, but that's my rant about MJ. Okay. Let's go. To me, he definitely has become a Marvel character, but I'd love to see this sociopathic, creepy stalker side of Venom again. It'd be cool if you get Ben... It'd be cool if... to either get a Ben Reilly Kane or Mayday Parker game. I'd love a Mayday Parker game. That would be cool as well. I don't know why Mary Jane needs to be in the comics at all. They've spent the last 2 decades not knowing what to do with her, but, like, don't put her in the... Yeah, so if you don't know what to do with her, don't ruin the character, just don't write about her. And if you've got a good story, do it. She's not a real-life actress with a contract or something. But she sells, though. That's the problem. You know, she's a really popular character because of how well-written she was. And then she sells, so of course they make comics about it. It's mad, you know. It's absolutely damn right crazy that we get MJ standalone comics. think about all the superheroes we get. And think about how many superhero comics get cancelled and how many times MJ gets a new relaunch as a #1 on her own. That is mental, right? Not saying that's a bad thing. You know, the fact that she's got that many fans is absolutely brilliant. I'm so happy that MJ is such a popular character. But because of that, Marvel are just doing the wrong things with her. You know? I think a comment alluded to it earlier. MJ is... Spider-Man's popularity as a whole and his sort of mythos and his characters are ruining it, and it couldn't be more right. I wish we could just have a Venom who starts out as strictly a Spider-Man villain, then progresses into an insane anti-hero who still hates Peter. I think that's what the comics did, though, isn't it not? It'd be cool if we had that in an adaptation, though. I don't think Venom was ever evil, though. He only hated Peter, but had a moral code. At this point, I've completely lost all respect for MJ. There's no rekindling her relationship with Peter, says Jay. Brand synergy, yeah, brand synergy. I think Spider-Side would be an evil Venom substitute if Marvel ever uses him again. If it features Punisher and the Hulk, there's a movie that has Punisher and the Hulk. Yep, MCU synergy. We're still talking about the synergy. Isn't this meant to be a tie-in to the upcoming Spider-Man film? It's not. It's not in the 616 universe. It's sad they pulled this off for Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah, no, I won't be reading the MJ. So everyone's sort of in agreement. They're seriously lazy with the titles. It's because of the synergy. They have done the title. They've done Long Way Home, so people go, oh my gosh, it's like No Way Home. It's like Far From Home. It's like Homecoming. Oh my god. Oh, that's why they've done it, right? And I'm one of those people. I saw that and I went, the MCU. Yes, so they write these comics for people like me who fall for it. And go, I'm going to read that because it sounds like the MCU. I'm a part of the problem. I'm sorry. I hate brand synergy. I hate it so much. It's good when it works. Like, I think for the Guardians of the Galaxy... right, okay. Now, hot take. For Guardians of the Galaxy purists, I'm so sorry. But no one knew who they were before the MCU. The MCU versions of the characters are so good. Okay, and the fact that they have synergized that into the comics is good for people like me who only know the MCU versions, because if I go reading Guardians of the Galaxy comic, I'm going to notice them straight away. So in some cases it's good because some characters aren't that popular to begin with. Now, purists of those characters will disagree, and fair play, because, you know, I feel that with Spider-Man and other characters. But Spider-Man's already popular, so I don't think he really counts. So sometimes it does work, but most of the time, characters like Spider-Man, Captain America, Hulk, Wolverine, it just doesn't work. They're too popular, you know? They've got a large enough fan base where most people are just going to be so peed off. What's interesting is there were rumors that AIM would be in the Punisher special, and they're going to be in this comic. That is actually very, very true. I hate the MCU synergy. It's annoying, but I think it'll be good. Hickman is usually great. Ultimate Spider-Man ended for that. It did. MJ for Renew Your Vows is the only superhero MJ I'm willing to accept. Yeah, I mean, actually, you know what? You make a good point. MJ and Renew Your Vows was written pretty decently. Spinneret MJ is pretty good. But the thing is, that had a reason to it. Because it was built off the idea of there being a spider family, right? And that was sort of the whole point of the story. So... in that case, it works, but just making her a superhero, I don't think doesn't. Wasn't Venom already a goofball since the 2000s game? I guess he was, actually. Yeah, I just remembered the Venom thing with Black Widow. Yes, Harley Quinn got Venomified. Did Harley... I'm not really too big on DC, but did Harley Quinn get Venomified? Is it worse than Harry Osborn as Venom? Oh god, that was something, wasn't it, in the game? MJ was probably the most real character in Spider-Man comics before she got powers. Exactly, right? Okay. The only way to save Spider-Man comics is a major reboot, says Mayo. I personally think MJ was at her peak during the early comic before One More Day in both the Ultimate comics. And the thing is, I think a lot of people would agree with you, Jay. Imagine if they gave Karen or, like, Peggy Carter the symbiote, it would be dumb just like this. Do you think if the Insomniac Spider-Man games make MJ jackpot, and if they do it, how would you feel? I think I'd leave the game and I'd refund. Her abusive childhood, her overworked sick mother, the stuff with her sister, smoking addiction, no character has more depth. Exactly, I 100% agree. I love MJ as a character. She's great. Pre-One More Day MJ was the best. That's given me an idea, maybe not be the first person, but it'd be cool to have MJ solo comic where she's taking care of Mayday while Peter is Spider-Manning. I think the thing is, right, Spider-Crafter, you make a good point. I would love an MJ solo comic where she's a civilian. Okay? Because there's so many, and I might just comment on this. There is so many interesting there's so many interesting MJ stories, and she's got so much depth that you could do a really cool story, but comics without superheroes don't sell. People love the splash pages and the action, and I get that's a part of the appeal. I guess it'd have to kind of be a novel, right? Maybe you could do a novelized MJ story. Is that weird? Would anyone buy that? I'd buy it. A novel with MJ? Don't know. Someone's got to write it. Should I write it? It wouldn't be very good. It wouldn't be very good. Do you reckon I could write an MJ novel? I don't know. I'm not a writer. Well, actually, I'm actually writing a book at the moment. Just fun fact. Just a little teaser I'll throw in there. I am actually writing a novel at the moment, but that's to come in a few years. It's very early in development. Anyway, yeah. So an MJ story would be really cool, just on her own. I've always wondered this. Why don't we have any Spider-Man comics as well written as some Batman comics? The best Batman ones are really peaking. Spider-Man's best ones don't come close. Brand new synergy day, says Romantic Avocado. That one tickled me. I feel your pain, Lewis. I used to love MJ for being the only girlfriend who understands Peter's struggles. Spider-Man related or not. Now they've treated her the same way Sam Raimi portrayed it. I think, okay, hot take, I think MJ was good in the Raimi movies. Hot take, I know. That might get me a bit of stick. My introduction to the Guardians of the Galaxy was actually the Ultimate Spider-Man episode with Nova. Oh, fair play. Marvel has been torturing Spider-Man since the 90s. Harley is an anti-hero, so yeah. There's a YouTuber who loves the comics, who loves comics, mainly loves DC Comics, and he always makes videos on how accurate these characters are in movies, TV shows. He talks about characters that are not popular, and gets mad if the writers change them up. I mean, if the character's popular now, who cares if the characters get changed? Thing is, I'm not against character change. That's one thing I want to make very clear. I'm not against character change. I think character change is always going to be a thing. Like, for example, Venom has changed a lot in the short time he's been a character. And characters, you know, if we time travel from now, 50 years in the future, I guarantee, that Spider-Man is unrecognizable. And people would say, nah, surely not. Guarantee Spider-Man's unrecognizable. Not in terms of sort of the core aspects of the character. I mean, sort of the stuff he's doing and the characters he's hanging around with, and the stories they got him doing, and the adventures he's on, and the TV shows, and you know, like, I guarantee we have something like an adaptation where Spider-Man is in his 40s, married to Black Widow, and has got like 5 kids. You know, stuff like that. Like, the core fundamental of the characters are like there, but like something like, and people would go, wow, well, why does that make sense? But like, the characters change over time very gradually, and then at some point something just clicks, and then some adaptation. Like, for example, having Nico Manuro in a Spider-Man show. If you told someone that like 30 years ago, and said that she was going to be a potential love interest or a sidekick character, superhero character type thing, in a Spider-Man show, people would have said you're crazy. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's just so ridiculous. And like, so characters are changing all the time. You know, if you would have told someone that, oh my god, and it is the biggest example, right, for Spider-Man. If you would have told someone, like, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that Spider-Man would kind of basically be Iron Man in the comics during Dan Slott's run, someone would have gone, you're absolutely insane. There's no way. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Okay? But Dan Slott turned Peter Parker into you know, a tech company owning genius with, you know, as much tech as Iron Man. Like, And the thing is, that was just an evolutionary point of the character. And that will happen again. Okay? Obviously, my Black Widow example was very left field and probably will never happen. But it was just a potential absurd reality, right? Like, you tell someone 30 years ago, he's going to be like Tony Stark in like 30 years. People will go, no, there's no way, right? So, like, you know, characters changing. So I would not be surprised. You know, I'm not mad at characters change. It's just when writers do stupid stuff with them. It's just, yeah, definitely miss Civilian MJ, says Jay. Parallel Lives is the best example of that. A 10-issue miniseries that comes out to coexist with the current Spider-Man run about MJ could work. MJ was good in Raymond movies. Thank you, Lewis, says Random. Yeah, I might have to explain myself on that one. Do you want me to explain? I've got plenty of videos where I talk about it, so you can go check them out. But, yeah, I don't think there's a single Batman comic better than DeMatteis' spectacular Spider-Man run. And the thing is, credit where credit's due, there has been some banging. When Spider-Man gets good, it's good, right? It's fantastic. Please tell me you'll be doing Spider-Man fan fictions. Love your work, says Jay. It's not a Spider-Man fan fiction. It's an original sci-fi fantasy book that I'm currently writing. The first draft is done. I'm working on the second draft at the moment. More details soon. I'm sure I'll post about it on my Instagram and on here probably at some point, just sprinkling it in. And when I come to try and publish it, if I publish it, I will promote it on here and you guys will know about it. You can pick it up if you want to read it. You don't have to. There's no pressure. I'm doing it for a bit of fun and sort of just to get my sort of storytelling out there in ways that's not Spider-Man fan fiction anymore. I know some of you guys love the Spider-Man fan fictions and I loved writing them, but I sort of don't have time to do that anymore. But anyway, that's just sort of on that. I think the kind of tie into an event where MJ will get the average civilians alive during said event would work really well. Lewis mentioning Spider-Man married to a superhero, fanfic writers, intense typing, says Spider-Crafter. That's so funny. I love comic book YouTubers like you, Lewis, because these comic book YouTubers just want everything to be the same as it is in the comics, and if it was in every media, these characters will never be popular. And the thing is, like, I'm always open to change, and the thing is, they're called adaptation for a reason, right? And this is one thing. Maybe it's a bit different. Maybe this example I'm about to give is a bit different, but I have the same grievance with people who hate movies based on books. Because in every situation possible, the book is always going to be better than the movie. The Hunger Games books are better than the movies. The Harry Potter books are better than the movies. Okay? Maze Runner books are better than the movies. Okay? That new one, what's it called? With Margot Robbie, Wuthering Heights, right? Saw that movie the other day. I thought it was a pretty good movie. Never read the book. Okay? Never read the book. It's not the greatest movie ever. Like, it's okay. Like, it's decent. It's alright. It was alright. But, like, people were absolutely pooing on it because it's not like the book. People are saying it's terrible because it's not like the book. Apparently, the book does it way more justice. And the thing is, I'm sure it does. But is that not just an obvious fact? The books, novels, and I'm going to put this out there because I'm just writing a book the last year or so myself. I've experienced this firsthand, and it's a pain in the ass. Books are long, man. They are long. They are long. The amount of words, man. My fingers hurt. The amount of words. They are long. They've got so much more time to explore characters and internal monologues and just get more grit in depth with characters and explore stories. Okay? Comic books are kind of the same. Okay? Of course, the movies are always going to be worse than the books. In novels, especially, comic books also kind of true, right? There's more time to explore stuff in a novelized format because you get 2 hours on a screen and you get unlimited pages if you want, you know, or multiple 800-page books, a 10-book series, a 100-issue comic arc, right? You get these things. So, of course, movies have to adapt. Okay, they are adaptations at the end of the day. They have to adapt to the medium, and they have to cut certain things, and they can't go as in-depth as you probably want them to. So you've got to judge the movie on how the movie is. Now, if they keep the core fundamentals of the character alive, and then they go in and change some things, I think that's fine. I think that's completely fine. You know? Like the things that they did in the Raimi movies, right? I mean, MJ and Harry don't show up until Peter's in college. They show up while he's in high school. That's a major change to the OG books. That's a major change. Okay? Because they cut the whole Gwen Stacy storyline out of Peter Parker's story. They cut the whole Gwen Stacy storyline. They cut straight to MJ. Okay? And they put Harry and MJ in high school with him. Okay? So, you know, that's a major change. But people get upset about these changes. Obviously, the Raimi movies over 20 years ago now, so they're the norm for people. People grew up on those movies. But imagine, you know, if the internet existed back then is the way it does now. People would be like, why are you cutting out Gwen? Where's Gwen? What are we doing? Right? So just an example, okay? Movies change things, and we've got to be open to that change. If the movie's good and it does justice to the character in a way that the character was intended to be portrayed, then fine. If the movie's bad, then fine. But if they change things, let's sort of judge it for what it is instead of comparing it to the thing that has way more time to go in depth with the characters, has way more time to do more interesting things with the characters. Let's just judge a movie for what it is. Rant over. Anyway. So let's go. If you told them we'd have multiple Peter clones and multiple Spider-Men and women, they'd be shocked. Oh, exactly, yeah. If you told someone from the 60s who were reading Spider-Man that by the 90s we'd have clones of Spider-Man and stuff, and Kane and Ben Reilly, they'd bite your hand off, right? I think I would justify MJ's behavior in 2 and 3 if Gwen was the love interest, but the first film and kill her off them both Peter... Maybe not. Please humor me. I'd like her in the first, but hate her in 2 and 3. Especially 2. I think... Right, here's my justification. I'm going to touch on this really quickly for MJ in the Raimi movies. My question would be, okay, whose perspective is the film from? Peter Parker's, okay? We see the film from Peter Parker's perspective. We follow his journey of him crumbling under the weight of being Spider-Man and the responsibilities of being Peter Parker. His two worlds are colliding, okay? And he loses his powers. From MJ's perspective, Peter has been sort of yearning after MJ the whole first movie, okay? MJ's sort of keeping him in a distance, and then she finally sort of embraces his love, realizes that she loves Peter and Peter loves her. They kiss. Peter says, nah, mate. I mean, how annoying is that? Put yourself in MJ's shoes. You'd be so annoyed, right? So come the second movie, of course she's acting really stern and sort of begrudgingly towards Peter. And people hate her and people go, she's not a likable character. And okay, maybe Sam Raimi could have done a better job to make her more likable, more presentable. But she's not a bad character. People say she's a bad character, she's really bad written. I would disagree. I'd say she's a really well-written character. Is she a likable character externally? Not really. In fact, I'd say in Spider-Man 2, she's quite and kind of even in 3, she's a little bit of an unlikable character, but she's not a badly written character. She's a really well-written character, actually, because from her perspective, Peter has really just messed her around. She does what she thinks is right. You know, she's pursuing a goal of Peter Parker. After accepting his love, she's pursuing, she wants to be with him, but she's got her own life and her own goals. And when Peter sort of pushes her away and rejects her, she's not just going to sit around, is she? I mean, that's boring, right? I mean, then she'd be a really badly written character. No, she goes and dates John Jameson and starts to do her own thing, gets a modeling career going. It goes, well, stuff you, Peter. If you're not going to, paying attention to me, I'm going to go do my own thing. So, and people see that and go, oh, she's being an absolute, she's being so annoying. But that's my defense for MJ in the Raimi movies. People say she's a badly written character. I'd say she's an unlikable character, but I disagree. I think she's a well-written character, personally. Okay, Spidercrafter says, Romantic Avocado first, sorry. I'm working on an entire Spider-Man story from his spider bite to the end of his career. I love that, Romantic Avocado. Please tell me when it's finished. I would love to read it. Spidercraft says, adaptations could also be a good way to introduce people to the original source material, says Spidercrafter. Yeah, so you don't overcomplicate it, right? You're not gonna, I think personally, actually, I think Holly, my fiance, I think is actually a perfect example of this, okay? So, if the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie was about the Jackal and the Clone Saga, and then they did Spider-Verse in Spider-Man 2, and then in Spider-Man 3, they did Spider Island, Spider-Geddon, she would have lost interest after the first 10 minutes. Right? Am I wrong? But the fact that it's so stripped back and it's sort of just the fundamentals, and they change some of the stuff to adapt for a movie, makes it way more accessible. You know, I didn't grow up reading the Spider-Man comics. I grew up watching the movies. And then I read the comics because of that. And that's the way it is nowadays. I'm working on... I've lost the comment. I'm working on a fanfic story, Friday the 13th, Jason versus Spider-Man. Nice. Game of Thrones books fans also tend to have very different rankings of the seasons than people who only watch the show. That's very true. It's so different. I think changes should work like when something doesn't work, you make it better and simple. Another major change in the adaptations that Spider-Man meets Green Goblin after meeting Osborn in the comics. Goblin appeared in issue 14. Harry and Norman were in 31 and 37. Exactly. If people want everything to be the same, then what's the point of watching a movie when you can just read the comic and it'll be boring because you know what's going to happen? And this is the crux. This is the golden, what do they call it? The golden tooth or the golden carrot? The golden nugget, right? I don't know. There's a saying out there somewhere, golden something. This is it, right? This is it. If the movie was just a retelling of the comic, who's going to watch the movie? Everyone knows what happens. Beginning, middle, and end. Signed, sealed, delivered. Everyone knows. My gosh. God. Anyway, sorry. I got... You know what I mean? Yeah, I think some comic books fans have been too, oh, but this has to be comic accurate, otherwise this would suck. Not all adaptations have to be one-to-one, otherwise it'd be boring. I completely agree. I'm not saying you should just change for sake, but in a way that makes the story and the characters better. I have to go for dinner. Good stream, Lewis. Have a nice evening, everyone. Well, thanks for coming, Spider-Crafter. Hopefully see you later. Chan, welcome to the stream. Hey, guys, sorry I'm late. I had beat an old lady with a stick to join the live stream. Peak reference. MJ is overhated in Spider-Man 2, and I completely agree. MJ for the streets. No! Stop with the MJ slander. She's a well-written character. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling her. She's an unlikable character. Yes, she's not a badly written character. Okay, there's a difference. Okay, let's just... Okay. I'm to hit the nail on the head, right? Okay, here he goes. Bad person does not equal bad character. Not enough people understand this. Thank you. Absolutely correct. Right? How many people like Hannibal Lecter? Do I say any more? I understand and respect MJ's frustration, but she's only marrying John. I didn't compare Hannibal Lecter to MJ. Don't. Bad comparison. Good analogy. I understand and respect MJ's frustration, but she's only marrying John to spite Peter. Yes and no. I think she... Yes. I think she actually does love him, but she loves Peter more, and she can't shake that. But also kind of yes. Right? But the thing is, you would. Right? You would in MJ's shoes. You would marry someone else. The thing is, John Jameson is sort of everything that Peter isn't. And it's actually ironic that it's J. Jonah Jameson's son as well. I mean, the intricacies that Sam Raimi set up there, it's not bad writing. It's good. I don't see why people... Anyway, MJ in Spider-Man 2 also knows that Peter is Spider-Man. She figured it out at the end of Spider-Man 1, so she's additionally hurt that Peter can't tell. Exactly, Super Batman! Exactly! We're getting into the intricacies here. I hear how hard people go on the Raimi trilogy. She's a great character. From her perspective, I understand her. She is lonely. Exactly. And we understand in Spider-Man 1 that she's got all of these, similar to the comics as well. She's got all of these sort of problems with, you know, her family and trust. And then Peter then goes and does that to her, you know, betrays her trust. You know, MJ knows that he's Spider-Man and he doesn't tell her. You know, imagine how she feels about that. She's got all these trust issues and Peter just, you know what I mean? Like, I think she's justified. I mean, unlikable character, yes. Anyway. She chose to marry John because she couldn't wait for Peter forever. She didn't go out with spite. Yeah, I also agree with it. So yes and no. Like, see, I agree once again. Like, yes and no. Like, yes, kind of, but also, you know, you would go and marry someone else. Like, she's not going to wait around. 3, I can understand MJ's frustration. I read that one. But other Spider-Man fans like myself, watch the same Spider-Man story every time it comes out. yes, I would be there day one every time. Would I like it? Probably not. 616 Spider-Man comics are awful, says Tava Smolka. Yes. I'm welcome to the stream, by the way. He also says, what about Paul? Nobody likes Paul. Who's John? Oh, we're talking about John Jameson. I'm currently making my own Spider-Man comic where this main 616 universe gets rebooted and Peter and MJ are back together with two kids called Annie and Ben. I like it, Robbo. I like it. What about how she cheated on so many characters with Harry and then with Peter before? And the thing is, that doesn't make her a bad character. It's not bad writing. Her cheating on people is actually good writing because it shows a flaw in her character. The flaw is that the way MJ expresses her frustration is by actively trying to hurt someone else. And maybe that's not the complete intention, but MJ not telling Harry, and she does the same thing with John as well at the end of 2. It's a character flaw, you know. She purposefully, she's selfish. She wants Peter really badly. You can like the whole arc in 1 and 2 is that she loves Peter, and then Peter accepts that, and then he flips it on its head because Peter has his own thing going on with being Spider-Man. It's so intricately designed that way. She's a good character, man. She is. Additionally, scenes not in the theatrical version of Spider-Man 2 also make it clear that MJ doesn't love John the way she loved Peter and was basically forcing herself to move on. Exactly. MJ was okay in Spider-Man 1 and 2, even though she's unlikable in Trilogy. I wouldn't necessarily say it's because of bad writing per se. When we get to Spider-Man 3, both Peter and MJ are in the wrong. I like Red Skull. He's probably the best worst person in Marvel Comics. Bad person doesn't equal bad character, says Random. Exactly. Question, do you think 616 Spider-Man is a failure? At the moment, I think we're past that, aren't we? As much as a mess that 616 comics are, I can't deny the idea of MJ as Venom and Eddie as Carnage is intriguing enough for me to get the comics, even if I think it still makes little to no sense. Can Mary Jane Venom just end? Yeah, we were on about this, so we're probably getting towards the end of that discussion, but the whole discussion up until now, and then we got onto the tangents about characters and adaptations and Mary Jane, is the 616 comics overall are in a place where they are pulling ideas from nowhere to make stories, like MJ's Venom, when theatrically it doesn't make sense because MJ was traumatized by Venom. That's a story, you know? MJ has PTSD of Venom. You know, as Ahmad quite rightly mentioned, Venom's first panel in the books is MJ literally getting traumatized by him. So, you know, you take that into consideration, why is MJ paired with that? It just doesn't make sense. And the problem is the book's actually really well written. The book's really, really well written. Okay, it really is, which is the most annoying thing. As much as a mess that 616 comics are, I can't deny that the idea of MJ as Venom and Eddie as Carnage is intriguing enough for me to... Oh, I read that one. People really have a habit in misunderstanding Spider-Man 2 and the MJ arc from it. Excuse me. Yeah, personally for me, I still miss Ultimate Spider-Man because Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Mary Jane... that book was fantastic. It breaks my heart that we lost that book for garbage. So I did the Ultimate Spider-Man stream last week, and I think it was a little bit underwhelming, the book. I think they could have done a lot more with it, but I do agree. I think the concept was good. They didn't really go past it. Wait, question: will Spider-Man Long Way Home be better than the main ASM book? I'd probably say so. I mean, Jonathan Hickman is writing it, and he does tend to cook. She is focused on what she wants, which is relatable, says Romantic Avocado. MJ's frustration in 3 was justifiable when it came to Gwen. Can't shake her jealousy over Peter probably as Spider-Man, says Jay. That's also true, right? Because MJ was getting all the attention in 2. She was a model. She was an actress. Come 3, her acting career isn't going that well. It's sort of breaking down. And then she sees Peter getting all this attention as Spider-Man and the spotlight's on him. And, you know, it just sort of feeds into jealousy, right? And then he gets Gwen and, you know, the whole thing. So Black Cat has cheated on Peter way more than MJ ever has, which until Wells was 0 times, and even then, circumstances debatable if it counts, and yet the same shade never gets thrown away to Super Batman. I gotta go bye. This was great. Well, bye, Fru. Thank you for joining the stream. Personally, for me, I think Mary Jane's Venom needs to end already because that book has been garbage and doesn't work. Like, why not have Eddie Brock go back as Venom? Yeah, I agree. I don't think it works. I recently caught up. For those of you who just joined the stream, I've recently caught up on the 616 books, especially All New Venom, which is why I wanted to talk about this on this stream. And yeah, it's not looking good. Well, it is. It's actually a good book, but I just don't. The whole idea is just not. It's just not. I mean, the 616 Spider-Man comics are like a drug. You know it's bad, you can't help but still read it. Jesus. Oh my god. I can't say you're wrong. It does kind of feel like this book is. It's like I stopped reading it for a few weeks, right? I stopped catching up because they have like one a week, don't they? Like there'll be an ASM, then the next week there'll be like a Venom, and then there might be a Black Cat one at some point, and the Jackpot one, and then there's like another tie-in book somewhere, and then the next week it'll be, you know, and then they sort of do that, and every 2 or 3 weeks there's an ASM, every 2 or 3 weeks. So there's sort of one Spider-Man related book every week. I sort of stopped for a few weeks, maybe a few months, and then I'm like, let me just read them, you know, and then I'm like, why did I read them? You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. Question. Here we go. Is it valid to say that Dr. Octopus is Spider-Man's true arch nemesis? I think there's a case for Venom, Doc Ock, and Green Goblin. But I think the best case is Green Goblin. I think Goblin will always be his arch nemesis. I think that he will always have the best case, but I'd say you could give a case to Doc Ock and Venom. I think you can give a case to them, but I think the best case is Norman Osborn, and I don't think that will ever change. Yeah. Have you heard any news about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2? I actually really like the series. I'm hoping to see it improve in the future. I haven't heard any news at this moment in time, no. The sources that I follow haven't talked about that show in a very long time. So I'm sort of dry on that. I'm sort of waiting on official news, actually. So, you know, most of the videos I've made on that show have come from official news, and not a lot of rumors have been, and there's not a lot coming out about it. So, I don't know whether everything's just under very tight wraps, whether they're struggling in production, but there's nothing about a trailer or anything. So, yeah, but when stuff does come out, I will be updating. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure to keep updated. So we will be talking about it. Like, do you think Marvel just doesn't care about 616 Spider-Man? Because for me, I think they've... Yeah, I agree. You know, well, it's not that they've given up. They just can't do the right things. I asked because I wanted to ask a different question than MJ. Says random. It was cool. A trait for Peter almost cancels out the whole notion of him being 100% nerdy all the time, because even when he's not in the suit, he would snap back at characters. Cham, you are right as well. Like, the worst thing MJ has ever done doesn't even come close to Felicia's worst thing. Kill off Paul permanently. Paul isn't a problem anymore. No, Paul isn't a problem. Paul and MJ are not together anymore. Which is one thing that this book did that's good. They're not together. That's one thing that the 616 universe has done good recently. They're not together anymore, which is good. Right, we're going in the right direction. Paul was such a terrible character. Thing is, people hated Paul for the wrong reasons, right? This is actually kind of the opposite of MJ. People hated Paul because he replaced Peter Parker as MJ's boyfriend. But I hate Paul. I kind of hate Paul for that reason. I hate Paul because he's a really bad character. Now, Paul was such a one-dimensional character when he was introduced. There was nothing interesting about him at all. Now, if Paul was an interesting character, and there was a reason for him to be there, and if there was a reason for MJ to love him, I might not be too against it. Now, am I against changing the stat? Am I against putting Peter back to the status quo all the time and changing Peter and MJ being together when Nick Spencer had it set up so well, ready for them to go forward and maybe start something good again? I will not forgive them for doing that. No, I agree that should have never happened. But if they made Paul an interesting character, it wouldn't have been so bad. But no, he wasn't even an interesting character. He was a one-dimensional character. Okay, he was bad, and he replaced Peter. So he can get in the bin. What else have we got? Not only did the 616 ruin my favorite Spider-Man girlfriend, but they also ruined my favorite Spider-Man villain, anti-hero. Question, do you think Marvel will need to stop trying to redeem villains like Norman Osborn? Yes, and yes, I agree. Norman being a good guy is going to feel such like a waste of time when he's back. Yeah, I know. Oh, I know, Super Batman. Tell me about it. Marvel really needs to bite the bullet and reboot 616, says Spooky Stone. It worked for DC every time continuity gets complicated. Thing is, Marvel's in too deep now. If they were going to do it, they should have done it with the original Secret Wars. And then if they were going to do it again, they should have done it with the next Secret Wars. They've missed both opportunities. So, Green Goblin is Spider-Man's true arch nemesis. Doc Ock would be second when it came to Superior Spider-Man, in my opinion, says Jay. I hear you, but personally I think Doc Ock fits better since he's kind of Spider-Man's dark reflection. That's people's main argument with Doc Ock, is that he's kind of like the dark sort of, predator-prey kind of spider octopus. Sort of, does that make sense? I don't think Octopus actively hunts spiders, though. No, they don't. This is just... But you got what I mean, right? The 8-leg thing. But this is people's argument for Venom as well, right? People... Because, the symbiote was the dark traits of Peter Parker then reflected onto Eddie Brock, and Eddie Brock had the hatred for Peter. And there was the whole... So that's what people say for Venom as well, right? That it's sort of that dark, shadowy reflection of the main character. And that's quite common for comic book villains, right? Reverse Flash being one of the very famous examples. Zod being another example, I guess you could say, in some sort of way for Superman. So, these characters do exist. So, yeah. But anyway, I digress. Imagine if Paul was in Brand New Day. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my God. There's rumors that MJ's got a new boyfriend as well. And people are saying it's Paul. Paul was a self-insert. Oh, he probably was. I'm gonna say he wasn't. I'm going to say he wasn't. He was. Plus, I don't think it was a good idea to bring Norman back in Clone Saga. Every time they brought Norman back, it's been a shambles. Paul wasn't even a douchey character. He was more of a plot device. Exactly. He was a one-dimensional plot device. Marvel just announced Spider-Versity, where Norman's gonna... Oh my God, Cham. Yeah, I know. Oh, we spoke about this a little while ago. I did a video about this, and oh my gosh, oh my God. The thing is, you can tell they're gonna bring Norman Osborn back as Green Goblin. You can tell they're gonna do Green Goblin again, and it's so annoying. Kind of impossible to make Paul a good character when he's basically they could have made him interesting, but I just baffles me why they didn't. I think the same thing is going to go on with Miles as well. They don't know what to do with him after the Spider-Verse movies. No, I think Miles has a really bright future. If I'm going to be honest, I think Miles Morales has a really, really bright future. I think there's a lot to do with that character. I really do. I really do. Personally, they should have just retconned One More Day out of existence finally. Yeah, I agree. And make Miles the main Spider-Man, retire Peter Parker. I think that would be very interesting. I do. I also kind of believe that Spider-Man doesn't have a definitive arch nemesis, which makes him unique, says Random. That's an interesting take. Who wants Spider-Versity, says Taylor. Literally no one. Reverse Flash is unique because he's not just a Flash's dark reflection, but also a galaxy-level hater. He is! Bro does not stop. He comes from every timeline. Bro. Miles' most recent one was really good. Miles has got a good future. I'm really excited about the future of Miles, comics and movies. I think once the Spider-Verse movies are done, we're 100% getting a solo Miles Morales trilogy that's either animated or live action, and it's going to be away from the Spider-Verse. I think the Spider-Verse was a fantastic introduction to ease us into that character. And then now I'm really excited about it because I think the thing is the game was really good as well. Everything's been really positive about Miles Morales. And I'm so excited for that character's future because Peter Parker's stinking out the gaff right now, right? Let's be honest. The only thing good about Peter Parker is... Well, actually, no. Peter Parker's not... No, that's... I'm going to take that back. the comics, Peter Parker's comics are stinking out the gaff. Because the games are okay at the moment. Marvel Spider-Man 2 kind of dipped a little bit. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man's really good. I really enjoyed that. And Brand New Day is going to cook. So, the other stuff is pretty good. The comics, not so good. Anyway. Why is Marvel obsessed with keeping Peter Parker around? Because, frankly, his story is done and obsolete. Needs to end badly. He makes money. He makes money. He sells. Black Manta is a Galaxy level hater as well. Dude killed Aquaman's son, caused his divorce, and reminded him about it for decades. He is a Galaxy level hater. Are the writers seriously this bored when it came to Osborn? At least Friendly Neighborhood tried to make the mentor thing work, but remind you when Norman is truly. The thing is if you're gonna do the Norman Osborn mentor story, you need to do it before he becomes the Green Goblin, right? There's no use doing it afterwards. You gotta do it before, which is what Friendly Neighborhood is doing. Anyway, let's move on. So that is the comic discussion. We lasted for an hour and 10 on that one. So good discussion, guys. We've already mentioned Spider-Man Long Way Home, the brand synergy. I wanted to talk about this, and for those of you new to the chat, Long Way Home is a comic featuring the Hulk and the Punisher and Spider-Man fighting AIM. As Ahmad said as well, AIM is going to be rumored to be in the Punisher special, which will tie in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And, of course, Spider-Man Brand New Day will feature the Punisher and the Hulk as well. So this is a very big, synergized comic for the MCU movies. I don't think it necessarily ties into the MCU movies, but it's obviously got the Long Way Home title, which is very MCU-ified, and yes. It's going to be good, I think. I hate the brand synergy, and I think everyone in the chat also does. But it probably will be good because it's written by Jonathan Hickman. Anyway, let's move on to the Spider... Well, I'm going to actually catch on this comment by Cham. I just caught my eye. I'm making MCU audio drama fanfic. I want to adapt some of the stories from Dan Slott's run, but there's some things I won't necessarily adapt because I already made plans for the 10 chapters. That's really interesting, Cham. I'm really excited for that. Yeah, send me the link when they're posting. I also think there's a big opportunity to do some... And I'd really love to actually write some of this. You know, so there's going to be 4 years in between No Way Home and Brand New Day. I think there's some really interesting stories that you could do in between No Way Home and Brand New Day. I think there's some really, really interesting stories you could do, like comics-wise. And I think there could be some cool, like, fanfics and audio dramas in there. I think that'd be awesome. Like a sort of like a season. Like you could do like a fanfic, like YouTube show, season per year. So 4 seasons. In between No Way Home and Brand New Day. I think that'd be awesome. Anyway, I'm hoping that Brand New Day movie would be good. I straight up hate the title, says Random. Okay, so let's talk about the noir villains really quick. Oh, that's the last thing. What am I looking for now? I'm looking for that. Okay, there we go. So we got a really good look at some of the noir villains, which is really cool. So we got Electro and Sandman. These are looking awesome, by the way. These are from the CCXP. These are looking awesome. Are you guys excited for Spider-Noir, by the way? These are looking awesome, okay? But this isn't what excited me the most. It's this guy, Silvermane. Okay, Silvermane in the flesh. This guy looks awesome. Like a mob boss straight out of Goodfellas. Straight out of a Scorsese movie. Okay. Yeah, I'm really excited for this show. I think superhero fatigue has sort of set in, I think, for me a little bit. And I think Spider-Noir is doing something so interesting and so different that I am so here for it. Okay. Yeah. So Insomniac's Peter has the anti-Venom suit, and it ruins the story of addiction. Do you think they can fix that in the sequel? I think Marvel Spider-Man 3 will be better than 2. So yeah, I think they'll fix Peter's character. I am says Random. Isn't the hand associated with Daredevil? It's one of the many rumors for Brand New Day that they'll be in the film. They will be in the film. Cham. I'm 100% certain on that. Based on things I've seen, leaks I've read, and some of the sources I've seen. I'm convinced they'll be in the film. Yes, it is heavily rumored, and I'm convinced they will be in it. But they are Daredevil villains. They are Daredevil villains. So How they're going to integrate into the story, I don't know. We'll just have to find out. I guess it gives us more intrigue into the film. How are they going to play it? Who knows? But Silvermane's looking awesome. So this is the main villain of Spider-Noir. And this is our first look at him. He wasn't in the trailer. At least, you know, in full force. He might have had, like, sort of a very skimmed shot here or there. I don't know. I don't think he was in the trailer. But anyway. This question is not relevant to the topic. But how do you feel when you saw Miles' Evolve suit? Oh, my God, I hated it. Well... What was my reaction? I remember hating it definitely afterwards. I don't know if I was just so hyped that I was like, oh, that's cool when I saw it. But I streamed Marvel Spider-Man 2. So you could actually go back and see my initial reaction to the suit. I might go back and actually look at what I said. It's actually a funny thing you mentioned that. I streamed the whole game on YouTube. So when the suit came out, I forgot what my reaction was, but I remember after finishing the game, I hated it, but I don't know what I said initially. I might have said it was good just because I was so hyped about the game. You know, but on reflection, yeah, I don't like it. Well, the second time Spider-Man stole a rogue from Daredevil, first is Bullseye in Ultimate Spider-Man as a payback for Daredevil stealing Kingpin. That's true. So let's talk about, do I like Ben Reilly or Kane Parker more? Ben Reilly. Oh, not recently, actually. Kane's a really good character, but Ben Reilly is the OG. But those are our first look at some of those villains in full flesh. Quickly, let's talk about the new trailer rumors. So there's a new rumor that the Brand New Day trailer is going to drop on March 23rd. That's going around. Now, I saw this... Rumor has been more speculation. I've seen a few people mention this. I've seen a few quote unquote leakers mention this. Not ones that I'd necessarily be inclined to believe. Not ones that I, you know, have sort of that sort of like, how do I explain this? So there's like Daniel RPK, Alex Perez, you know, those type of guys where you see something and you go, oh, okay, we're cooking, right? Because they've gotten things right before and they've got a reputation. Some people in the chat will disagree, say they don't trust anything anyone says, but that's, you know, this is coming from so-called leakers that, you know, I've never really seen much from, but there's rumors that it'll be March 23rd. That's a few things I've seen online, and I thought I'd bring that to you because usually when it's sort of one thing from sort of a very left field source, I never really cover it because I think, oh, there's really no point. But this was something that a lot of people are talking about, and I've seen quite a few things, a bit of discussion going on with this, so I thought I'd bring this to the table. But there's also been, and likewise, Cryptic 4K Quality, is that his name? Is that how you say it? I feel like it is. He's a leaker online who is actually known for trailer dates and film run times. He's very, very good with that sort of stuff. That's where his sources come from. That's like his main sort of source, and he's been saying that the trailer is going to be in March as well. So there's that too. So there's a little bit sort of from everywhere, right? So March 20th to 30th, March 23rd is a date I've heard. So I think maybe book that in the calendar. I think definitely watch out between March 20th and 30th. I think that is the window we're looking for. Maybe obviously, but also, you know, I think obviously we should have had a trailer by now anyway. I think in December we should have probably had a teaser at least. Cryptic is one of the only scoopers I still trust. Yeah, I really, really love his scoops because his scoops most of the time turn out, and he's I think he's one of the most reliable. Whenever he says something about Spider-Man, I'm like, okay, I'm locked in. So yeah, Silvermane's really underrated. They should add more adaptations, maybe in Spider-Man 5 or 6 if they make Tombstone an overarching villain for Tom's new trilogy. It'd be cool to see more of the Magia crime family, that's for sure, and sort of related characters. Curious to see how Brand New Day fits into who were essentially the main villains of the Marvel Netflix saga into the movie with all those other villains. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I hope it's not a mess. Will the stream be going even after the topics are done? I'm having fun here, and you made my day since I found out my own class. Oh, no. Oh, random. Well, I hope you're okay. I mean, that is awful news. Yeah, no, I mean, sending all love to you and your family. That is awful news. I hope everyone's okay. Yeah, praying for random in the chat. Yeah, so I hope you're okay, man. But I'm glad I've been able to sort of take your mind off that for a little bit. Yeah, it's been a good stream. We've had some good discussions. Usually the stream doesn't really run after the topics. The stream sort of runs maybe 10-15 minutes if we've got a good discussion going, which happens most of the time, to be fair, anyway. You guys get me sidetracked, okay? I could talk about Spider-Man for hours. But yes, yeah, praying for you, man. Hopefully you're okay. But yeah, it's true. Cryptic is very, very good. And so I'd book March 23rd in your calendars, and I'd say look out in between that. I'd say look out for the whole of March, really, because I think we're at this point now. We're at that point now, so yeah, we should be expecting a trailer very, very soon. Any more questions, pop them in the chat, and I'll answer them while we've got a little bit more time left. But apart from that, we are coming to the end of the stream. But yeah, March, hopefully we do get a trailer, and if we do, I've got a question for you guys, actually. If we get the trailer in March, do you think it will be the leaked trailer that we saw in December, or do you think it'll be a complete rejig trailer? That's my question. Asanbro says, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope your family can get through this and things get better. I hope his legacy... yeah, all love in the chat. How did you feel when Peter was revealed to be a clone during the Clone Saga? Everyone hated it, but what about you? Well, that was a little bit before my time. Yeah, it was a little bit before my time. So I sort of had the... I sort of had the pleasure of being able to see the story as a whole unfold at once rather than sort of in real time. But in hindsight, that story was a mess. That story was an absolute mess. And I can't believe they tried to convince us that Peter was the clone. But yeah, that was before I was born. So, Lewis, you're probably the only YouTuber I think reads all the comments. Most YouTubers just ignore it or don't talk about it. That's why I love you, man. Oh, well, thank you very much for the very kind comment. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, no, and I've tried to read all the comments because you know you guys spend your time coming on the stream and then commenting, and that's amazing that, that's just incredible as it is, just flat out. So I make sure to read all the comments. And I will miss a few because, like we've had tonight, we've had some amazing discussions. And when we were talking about MJ's Venom, you guys were flooding the comments, which was absolutely incredible. But I tried to read as many as I can and try to get to everyone's questions and comments. Thank you for all your wishes, says Random. Yeah, so a lot of love in the chat at the end of the stream. The Peter Parker as a clone story was a mess, and a point where Clone Saga started to go off the rails. Yeah, they should. I think the original Clone Saga was really good, actually. The one from the 70s. It was really, really good. It was different, and yeah, it was fun, right? And it ended, there you go. The one in the 90s, went on for ages, didn't it? It was a bit messy. It was very messy. And then the one fairly recently, Clone Conspiracy, yeah, it was okay. You either hate clones or you love clones. And I think the Clone Saga is one of them things where I think if it was adapted right, it probably could be a really good story. But it was really messy, wasn't it? You know what I mean? And when they said that Ben Reilly was actually Peter, oh my god, man! I mean, what were they thinking with that twist? What were they thinking with that twist? Yeah. So anyway, I think that's probably where we will leave the stream tonight. We have covered all our topics, and yeah, we've talked a lot about the current state of Spider-Man comics. We've had some really, really good discussions. So thank you all for watching. It went on for 2 years. They planned to make Ben the new main Spider-Man, but then, yeah, and then they undid it. Do you hope to see the Clone Saga in any adaptation? I hope they do. I hope they actually, you say this. I really, really hope they do the Clone Saga at some point. I really do. I really hope they do. I think it needs to be done justice. Some people really hate it flat out no matter what. I really, really hope they just do the Clone Saga. I actually think the reveal of Peter being the clone could have worked if they stuck with it. Besides, if Peter was the clone and retired with MJ, I guess in hindsight, you look at it with one more day and go, well, maybe Peter deserved to be there. They were actually going to adapt the clone story for the TASMverse before. So, oh my god. Yeah, they were adapting the Clone Saga in TASM 3, weren't they? Kinda, loosely. They were going to bring Captain Stacy back. There was talks about bringing Gwen back. They had Norman Osborn's floating clone head or something like that, didn't they? So, yeah. So I'm at even more love to Random in the chat. Yeah, so it's great community we got here as well. So you know we all look after each other, don't we? Even if we disagree on Spider-Man opinions, you know what I mean. But anyway, yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll keep you posted on future streams where we'll have some awesome discussions as well. I really like these comic discussions. I think I'll try and think of one for next week. This is something I wanted to get off my chest last week. Obviously, Ultimate Spider-Man ended, so I wanted to talk about Ultimate Spider-Man. But next week, unless something crazy happens, I'll try and think of something that I sort of want to talk about. I don't want to do it for doing its sake, but I really like these comic discussions. So if there's a topic you guys actually in the community posts or in any of the random comment sections of my videos, if you think of any comic book discussions we can do next week's stream, just let me know, because we'll get to it. So yeah. Yeah, and Lewis makes me forget about the real word for a minute. Well, thank you. I mean, you know, it's just we got such a good community here. Like, you know, we all do have a good time. You know, it's escapism, isn't it? At the end of the day, you know, these comic books, and that's why we're so passionate about them, because you know when they're great, they're great. When they're bad, it's upsetting, isn't it? Because you know we dedicate a lot of our lives to reading these things, these damn things, and then you get MJ's Venom. So anyway, that is it for the stream. Have you ever thought of covering other comics like DC? I have thought about it. It's a Spider-Man channel, so I stick to Spider. Super Warrior, what did I miss? No, you came at the end of the stream, Super Warrior. Oh no. This happens like every stream as well. Someone always comes in late. I'm so sorry, Super Warrior. We're just about to end the stream. But we spoke about a lot about. You can watch it on replay, but we spoke a lot about the Spider-Man comics and sort of the current state of them. But hopefully you can join us next week, though. Do you watch Linkara or Casually Comics? I don't. Are they comic YouTubers? Possibly. If they are, might check them out. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, everyone. It's been a fantastic stream, as always. And I will see you for a video later this week. And of course, I'll be posting YouTube shorts throughout the weeks as well, updating you guys on the latest Spider-Man news. So if you see my shorts, you know something's going down. So make sure to watch them. Make sure to stay engaged and to get all the news as well. Anything else I need to cover? No, just have a fantastic evening wherever you are in the world, or morning if it is the morning where you are. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next stream. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.